Catherine.
And I'm Dewey, here with another water-wise tip.
During summer, do you know why we water up to 3 days a week?
To make the best use of me.
Exactly. It builds deeper, stronger roots and makes your lawn more resilient.
Also, use the cycle and soak method. Try shorter cycles with breaks in between to reduce runoff.
And in spring or fall, you can water 1 or 2 days per week. Be water-wise and your lawn will thrive.
Now that's water-wise. Learn more at csu.org/waterwise.
Hey there, crew. It's been a hot day for a lot of here, but we have some thunderstorms that are developing now. So I want to give you an update on that. Thanks for joining me here on Peak to the Plains Weather. Our thunderstorm update is brought to you by Tamco Building Products and their Hail Guard shingles beyond Class 4. And I'm going to jump right into Tamco Live radar here this afternoon because you can see around Trinidad here, just off to the east of Highway 350 and along Highway 160. In the last hour, we've seen some pretty strong thunderstorms develop. Excuse me. These storms developing because we've got some outflow that has moved across the area associated with a storm that was around Walsenburg earlier, meeting some southeast flow here. And I want to put some of the storm tracks on this storm for you because these little cores that we're getting have the potential to put down some hail near an inch in diameter. Now, as soon as they kind of go up, they are weakening. And so there's a very small window to get that, but you can see some of this brighter kind of pinks and the reds there. That's some pretty significant echo on the radar. It's up above 60 dBz where you see the pinks, which is decibels. It's how much energy is coming back to the radar. And it is because we have this outflow that you can see kind of moving north across Pueblo County, up into El Paso County now, and across eastern Pueblo County, and right along where those storms are down to the south. Out ahead of that outflow, we have southeast wind. You can even see the flow on the radar where there's bugs and some dust in the atmosphere coming right into where the outflow boundaries are. So we've got this big outflow boundary here, and we've got this flow coming into it. There's convergence right along this outflow boundary with some pretty moisture-laden air. Look at the dew points here. We are in the mid to upper 40s just ahead of that outflow boundary. And so that's why we're watching these areas here to the north of where the storms are right now. So across Crowley and Otero County, where we currently don't have much in the way of storm activity, I'm going to keep an eye on you guys here for the next little bit, because we may end up seeing something like what happened here in western Los Animas County, where we may get some storms that go up pretty quick. And if I come up to your area right now, you can see that there are a couple updrafts here around Fowler, just off to the northwest. And as those interact with this outflow boundary, we'll keep an eye on it. So just something to be aware of. In the Colorado Springs metro area, we have had some high base storms through the afternoon, but you can see the outflow boundary coming up from the south. And so we'll watch this area as well over the next little bit. We have seen a storm fire up around Falcon, and that one has gotten a little bit intense here in the last little bit, kind of right along and north of Woodman Road. And I'm looking toward that direction here on our Broadmoor cloud cam shot, and you can see that not all of that is making it down to the ground, even though that was a pretty intense core from the radar. There's some virga out there. We've been talking about that the last couple of days, and if you're not familiar with it, virga is what we call, it's the technical term for when rain evaporates on the way down to the ground, and that creates these pockets of cool air underneath them that are more dense than the surrounding air. And because of gravity, they are heavy, and they sometimes rush down to the surface very, very quickly, and they can make some downbursts. You can see also a developing storm there on the left side of the screen up against the Rampart Range. That one is a little bit closer to Monument. So we'll watch for the potential for some virga bombs, we call them, that comes down to the surface, spreads out in all directions. That's what created that big outflow boundary that I showed you. Those outflow boundaries can act as new cold fronts and develop new thunderstorms. So we'll keep an eye on this storm around Falcon. If I loop everything over the last couple of hours, you can see that it hasn't moved all that much. Steering flow is not great out there today. So if this rain starts to make it down to the ground in earnest, you'll get a little bit of a burst. But we're keeping a closer eye on these storms off to the east of Trinidad and the potential for some storms a little bit farther to the north. So that's kind of where we are now. Skycast has the right idea with some of this. And over the next few hours, it kind of takes this cold pool, and the heating of the late part of the day intensifies everything a little bit, keeps some storms around through the middle part of the evening, and then winds things down as we move into the overnight ahead of what is going to be a hot Sunday across southern Colorado. In fact, as we check out the forecast across the area, I'll just show you the lows overnight tonight. In the Pikes Peak region here, it'll be very, very comfortable once the storms come to an end. Will generally be around 50. Up against the eastern slopes of Pikes Peak will be a little bit warmer than that. We head into tomorrow, I think in the heart of the city, we may hit 90. Higher terrain off to the north, northeast, to the southwest will be in the 80s. And then you get up across the top of Monument Hill, Palmer Lake around 82 and 70s in Teller County. The difference tomorrow is that the chance of these high-based, gusty-type storms is lower than today because we will dry the atmosphere out more both at the surface and in the mid-levels compared to today. But any shade that you can get in the afternoon, I think will be welcome to you because it is going to be a toasty one. We start off in the 40s over the mountain valleys, 50s elsewhere as we begin the day, but notice how toasty it is around Pueblo in the afternoon. We'll be in the upper 90s, be around 90 for Walsenburg and Trinidad, and lots of 80s in the interior valleys from around West Cliff and Silver Cliff into the San Luis Valley as well. But the big time heat is along the Arkansas River. on Sunday. We begin the day between 55 and 60 in many areas, and we flirt with 100. Now, there will be a spot or two, I think, that hit it. It's just tough for me to pinpoint where that is, and I think most of us won't, so I didn't want to get too wild and just put 100s all over the place, because I think that'd be a little bit misleading, right? Between 50 and 55 on the Palmer Divide in the afternoon, coolest in western Elbert County and in Douglas County, a little bit higher there than out across I-70 for Flagler, Seabird, Stratton, and Burlington. But it's going to be a toasty one. So, just heads up here for the next couple of hours as we get these storms to come in. For those of you that are just joining us, I know some of us check our phones a little bit after the live stream starts, and then some of us on social media are checking some of this. There are a couple things that I'm watching here as we head over the next few hours. We've had some thunderstorms that went up pretty quickly just to the east of Highway 350. And you can see those initial updrafts have collapsed. Frog in my throat, that's better. But we are still getting enough lift here that we're probably getting some hail around 3/4 of an inch in diameter. There's a very slow drift to the east with these things. The other storm that we are watching is around the Falcon area. And if we check out our camera that is right underneath this thing here at Woodman and Highway 24. Now, as I show you this camera, know that the heavier activity is just off to the northwest of this camera by about a mile. But you can see that we are getting some rain down to the ground there, and the temperature has pulled back a little bit. So that's kind of where we sit. The next few hours overall across the region is going to be our best chance of thunderstorm activity here this evening. You can track these storms yourself in the Peaks to Plains weather app. And for those of you that are here right now, I'll take the opportunity since we've got some storms out there to show you a little bit about how the Peaks to Plains weather app works. So I'm going to pull up my phone live here on the air with you, and I am going to go into the Peaks to Plains weather app, and I am going to show you how this works. Okay, so if I go to my homepage, I got the Peaks to Plains weather app on the homepage, right? No doubt about that. Going into the Peaks to Plains weather app, and we're going to pop into this thing. Here's the notification I just sent about being live, but I'm going to go down to the weather map at the menu at the bottom right-hand corner. And I'm going to zoom in on the storm around Falcon. Now, notice that I have several things saved here at the bottom. As an example, I can click on Matt's Storms, and you'll see that I have a storm track on there. Then I can click on that storm track, and I can get some information about the storm, how intense it is on radar, if there are threats in it, what direction it is moving. And you can customize all of this in the bottom right-hand corner, this little kind of hamburger menu down there. You can decide what the maps look like. You can make it kind of a brighter one if that's easier for you to see. If you like seeing the satellite imagery, you can do that. But if you scroll down here at the bottom with all this stuff and you hit plus, there's all kinds of different things that you can turn off and on, and then you can save that, name it whatever you want, and the next time you pop back in there, that specific information that you wanted is pulled up. It's pretty useful, and wanted to make you aware of that feature. So that's where things sit here. Late in this afternoon. So those of you around Falcon dealing with the storm, we're watching this thing pretty closely here. It is probably going to start collapsing here in the next little bit. In fact, it has in the last radar scan. So the rain that you're getting right now will be with you here for the next little bit, and then it will start to lighten up. It may develop a new core off to the east. You're seeing that process actually starting to happen now. Some of this multicellular look to the sky here is something that can happen when there's not a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere. But we are going to get some convergence across El Paso County because we have this outflow coming up from the south. And then we've got this southeast wind here. And so as these two things collide and the air starts running into each other from different directions where we've already got some updrafts going, when air runs into each other, it can't go down into the ground. It's got to go up. So we'll keep an eye on that here for the next little bit, that in El Paso County, storms on the increase, which is a little bit busier than I thought it might be here today. A lot of this still isn't making it down to the ground, But for where it is, obviously that can impact plans. So if you're about to get the grill out or something in El Paso County, I would maybe think about that. Pueblo, we are in the clear. The outflow has gone through. That stabilizes our atmosphere. Anything would be kind of out ahead of this outflow that you see moving to the north and to the east. So that's where things sit. Strong storms east of Trinidad and a couple strong storms trying to develop in El Paso County. Anytime you need the forecast, you can get it. Short term, long term, our frequent updates, we put those at the top of the app. We've got our 24-hour channel running on there. Anytime you need it, just pop in there. You can see current conditions. Radar shows up pretty frequently. We've got our forecast updates in there as well. So it's a very, very handy tool. And Mary and Rachel and I are honored to bring it to you. And, good to be with you here on this Saturday afternoon on what looks like it's going to be a quiet day. And then, the weather starts happening and you get a little bit of an impact out there. So through about 7 o'clock or so in the Pikes Peak region, maybe through 9 o'clock for areas kind of in the central part of the eastern plains. Then we'll be quiet as we head into the rest of the overnight. Thanks for joining me here for this live update. And as we move through the back part of the weekend, temperatures are going to get hotter. You can get that at the bottom of the Peaks to Plains weather app for right where you are. Have a good night.
We don't know what the weather is going to be like around here. I do get really anxious during storms.
That's why they chose HailGuard. When performance leads, confidence follows. Backed by the first and only asphalt shingle system with a hail warranty.
That just gives us more peace of mind.
This is the only asphalt product on the market that has the manufacturer warranty targeting the hail damage, and it gives me a lot of confidence as a contractor.
Engineered for enhanced impact performance. Built to protect homes and reputations. HailGuard shingles. Built for hail.